Good morning. Thanks for joining us for the News 12 FastCast. I'm Nick Proto. It's 11:50 on our Friday, November 1st. Today is your last day to head to the polls early in Georgia. Tomorrow for South Carolina. Then Tuesday is Election Day. Now, mistakes can happen on Election Day. So what happens if you show up to the polls without your driver's license or your name isn't on the polling pad? Well, you'll get a provisional ballot. From there, you'll put that ballot into a sealed bag and a poll worker will give you a notice that provides you with instructions on how to check if your ballot has been counted. For example, if a person votes with a provisional ballot because they feel they met the deadline to register to vote, the board has 3 days to look into it to confirm. Richmond County's Board of Elections Director Travis Doss says a lot of the times the person who's doing the provisional voting doesn't have any other documentation or proof with them like an ID. He says the majority of provisional ballots he sees in Richmond County are just out of precinct. On Election Day, everyone must vote at their assigned precinct. You can find that out on the Secretary of State's website where that is. Doss says if you show up to the wrong precinct after 5 p.m., you will be able to vote with a provisional ballot. The reason for that cutoff time is in case someone doesn't have time to make it to their correct precinct before the polls close. He says those provisional ballots are spread out across the county with only about 20 to 30 provisional ballots during each election cycle, meaning it usually has very little impact on a particular race. If you plan to head to the polls early, here are some locations in Richmond County. Richmond County has 8:30 to 6 polling today at the Municipal Building, the Robert Howard, Warren Road, and Henry Brigham Community Centers. Polls in Columbia County are open from 8 to 6 at the former Uji Creek Library, Building G3 at the Board of Elections office, and the School District Support Department complex. Across the river in Aiken County, polls are open from 8:30 to 6 today and tomorrow at the Board of Elections office, Roy Warner Park, Odell Weeks Recreation Center, and the North Augusta Community Center. For other South Carolina early voting locations, you can go to scvotes.gov. Authorities in Orangeburg are investigating after tense moments unfolded at an early polling location. A man was attempting to vote when he was told by a poll worker to remove his Let's Go Brandon hat. In the video, poll workers can be heard saying next in line, and you can see the man throw his hat there. The man then does some hand gesture, and it's hard to tell exactly what that was. A poll worker then tries to hit him while others try to hold him back as he tries to fight back. They're trying to take him outside. South Carolina law restricts voters from wearing anything that displays a political party candidate name or a ballot issue. SLED is investigating the incident. And in case you couldn't make it out to trick-or-treating last night, there are a few other events happening today. You still have time to enjoy Pumpkin Fest at Sarah's Farm Adventure in Trenton. That is South Carolina's newest fall festival with pumpkin picking, hay rides, and some nice fall photo ops. That's open from 10 this morning until 10 tonight. The last day is tomorrow. Then Sunday, there's trunk-or-treating at Riverview Park Activity Center in North Augusta from 5 to 8. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office is investigating a suspicious death after finding a man dead at Elliott Park next to Butler High School yesterday morning. The coroner's office says the victim is 59-year-old Michael Whitfield of Augusta. Investigators say Whitfield may have suffered blunt force trauma. We're following this case and we'll bring you updates as we get them. A man's dead after a crash involving a van and a four-wheeler on Escalga Lake Road yesterday. The Aiken County Coroner's Office says 46-year-old Jeremy Willits of Graniteville is that victim. The coroner says Willits was driving on a power line path when he pulled in front of the van, causing it to trap the four-wheeler and Willits under it. Officials say no other injuries were reported. We're continuing to follow Wednesday's deadly shooting on Helsinki Drive in Richmond County. The coroner's office says the victim is 15-year-old Devane Grissom of Augusta. The sheriff's office says Grissom was shot at least once and taken to a hospital where he later died. Officials say while at the hospital, another gunshot victim came rushing in. We're working to find out if those two were related, and we'll let you know when we hear back. Drivers, don't forget about the road closures in Augusta. We've been telling you about the intersection of 13th Street and Jones Street is closed for now for crosswalk installation. City officials say it's going to be closed for 2 weeks. They say if you drive over the Savannah River Bridge from North Augusta, you'll need to detour left or right at Reynolds Street. And there's another closure impacting your commute near the Augusta Mall. Wilds Road between the mall and North Lake Road is now closed at the railroad tracks. Officials say it'll be closed for a week for repairs. So you can expect some traffic delays. They want you to plan accordingly. Columbia County Community Services Director is providing updates on the status of the county's parks. He says there's no estimated time of restoration for the Wildwood Park campground. However, he says the boat ramps and bathrooms are open. He says the Racket Center needs to undergo major sidewalk construction, fallen trees need to be removed, and repairs on fencing and the dock needs to be done. At the Ucha Creek Greenway, he says it's passable except the portion that runs through Bartram Trail. You are advised to use caution if you use that greenway. And he says the Reed Creek Center is open, but the boardwalk remains closed. The cross-country trail at Blanchard Woods Park remains closed as well, and he says the Savannah Rapids Pavilion is closed for an extended period of time. That's everything you need to know on the news side of things this morning. Let's send it over to First Alert meteorologist Tim Strong now for your weekend forecast.
All right, Nick, we've got just a little bit of scattered cloud cover beginning to develop, kind of pulling in as we start warming things up. More of the thicker clouds are back west. There's a cold front off to the west, northwest Georgia. Ahead of that, there's been a few light showers, believe it or not, close to Atlanta. It's not going to hold enough together to bring us any rainfall here, but we'll be receiving the cloud cover. And that's the way it kind of looks over the Thurman Dam here just before midday. Same with our studios at I-20 Riverwatch Parkway exit, flowing smoothly. 61 degrees, really not the biggest jump in temperatures yet. We are expecting those numbers to climb quite a bit. We'll see a little wind develop here, mostly out of the west at 5 to 10 later on today. 5 to 8 coming in between Barnwell and Aiken. Thompson at 5. I think the bees are enjoying the nice warm weather here, but pattern is going to be mainly in the 80s as we head through this afternoon, dropping back down into the upper to mid 60s. And for the upcoming weekend, doesn't appear other than maybe an upper 70 mark that we're going to see much of a cool down at all through Election Day on Tuesday. Have a great day, everybody.